Yeah, I'll say like get off my idea.
Right. So we can.
Yeah, I mean, my brother, my younger brother, is like very famously bad at directions.
Good morning. Today is Wednesday, August 19th. This Committee of Finance, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, as well as Committee of the Whole, is called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Here.
Bishop, Ganwell, Davis. Here. Ray, Harsh. Here. Jones, Hudson. Here. Jones, Casey.
Present.
Valencia.
Present.
Santana, Shaw, Sly. Stop.
Thank you. We'll begin by hearing the pieces that have guests with us to start off with. And the first piece that I will bring up is from Capital Projects. This is 764-2026 by Councilmember Santana. Bishop and Griffin by departmental request and emergency ordinance authorizing the mayor and the commissioner of purchases and supplies to sell certain city-owned property no longer needed for the city's public use located at the southeast corner of Train Avenue and West 44th Street. 2, the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 8 for purposes of property consolidation and green space maintenance. And I believe we do have guests with us today. The director, if you can open us up, and then we want to make sure we hear from your guests.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So today we have before you an ordinance related to the sale of surplus property. And so Commissioner DeGennaro is going to go through the details of this proposal. And to start out, though, we'll go to my left and we'll have our guests introduce themselves.
I'll get it one of these days. To the chair and council, my name is James O'Malley. I'm a captain of the Division of Police and the president of FOP Lodge 8.
Welcome.
To the chair, the council, my name is Edward Lentz. I'm a lieutenant of police, Cleveland Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 8, vice president.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This legislation would authorize the Director of Capital Projects to sell a vacant parcel located at the corner of West 44th and Train Avenue to FOP Lodge 8. They own the building to the south, and they are seeking to acquire this 4,074 square foot lot to improve it with fencing and to green it up. The city has no use for it. The city is going to reserve a 20-foot easement along the side of the bridge for maintenance, and the sale will be at appraised value of $2,100.
Thank you. Any other comments?
No, sir.
All right. Any council members would like to make any comments? I don't see the two sponsor members here. So moved. Any other questions? All right, seeing no other questions, ordinance number 764-2026 stands approved. Always good to see you guys at the table.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work and be safe out there. I want to remind all the council members, please sign on to the committee that you represent. And then also, that's what I need everybody to sign on to. Thank you. All right, next up is 693-2026, East 9th Street, Scarlett. If we could have that group come to the table, 693. All right, thank you. 693-2026. This is 693-2026 as amended by Council Members Starr, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Development to enter into a tax increment financing agreement with East 9th Scarlett LLC and/or its designee to assist with the financing of the East 9th Scarlett LLC project to be located at 2060 East 9th Street, to provide for payments to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and to declare certain improvements to real property to become a public purpose. And there is an amendment. The amendment said there is no legal objection to this legislation if amended as follows. 1, strike the second whereas clause in its entirety and insert a new whereas clause. 2, read as follows. Whereas under ordinance number 686-2026 passed July 15, 2026, the city entered into chain of title of the real property for conveyance deeds from East 9th Scarlett LLC and/or its designee redeveloper to city recorded August 10th, 2026, DEQC 2026-8100728, and to city to redeveloper recorded August 12th, 2026, DEQC 2026-8120211, the real property, thus establishing 2026 as the base for determining the increment or appreciated value after completion of the improvement pursuant to the requirements of section 5709.41 of the revised code prior to the passage of this ordinance. Date 8/14/2026, signed by Stephen Martinek, Assistant Director of Law. Director, and you can introduce your guests. Or Ms. Ufoma, and then I see the directors coming in.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning.
We're here this morning with the Project Scarlett team. And I would like to take a moment to introduce to you those at the table, starting with Ufoma, who is a member of our team and has been the project manager on for this project. With me as well, we have Nathan Felker, Executive Vice President and General Counsel for Spark GHC, Greg Kramer, Senior Vice President of Government Affairs and Business Development for Spark, Ken Kalinchuk, Director and Principal of Project Management Consultants, and Brendan Shea, Vice President of Real Estate Development and Owner Rep for NextGen. So before we get into specifics in which Ufoma will be very helpful with, I just want to provide a little context for why the administration is supportive of this project and why we believe this project and projects like this are particularly important for the downtown neighborhood of Cleveland. We all know that the development environment has become more challenging. Construction costs remain high. The cost and availability of capital have changed considerably, and those challenges are even more pronounced when we're talking about adaptive reuse of older buildings. At the same time, we have vacant and unutilized properties downtown that we need to bring back to productive use. So as an administration, we have been very intentional about the future of our city. We want more people living downtown, more businesses and activity at the street level, more visitors, and ultimately a downtown that is active well beyond the traditional workday. And so we believe that Project Scarlet realizes that for the city. The project represents approximately $127 million in private investment to bring 2 currently vacant downtown buildings along East 9th and Prospect back into productive use. And with that, I will let Afoma and the team get into the specifics of the project. I know we've been here before to enter into chain of title, and today we're looking to get authority to enter into a TIF agreement.
Director, just out of curiosity, it used to be economic development would put up kind of one of those sheets to show what kind of profit we're making and how the city is benefiting. Do you have that usually you guys put in place? Is that part of the slideshow?
Yes.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure. Please proceed.
Through the chair to the
Please
council-
speak right into the microphone, please. Thank you.
Yes. Through the chair to the council members, thank you for this opportunity to present this project. East 9 Scarlet, the developer of the Rose and Sloan buildings, also known as Project Scarlet, acquired this building back in 2024, and it has been vacant until now. The project is proposed to develop the 2 buildings, as my director stated, at the corner of East 9th and Prospect. And it will be the first Marriott branded residency, combining a hotel with apartments. It is a private public partnership, and they've raised over $126 million to try to renovate these buildings and bring them back to full productive reuse. The 2 buildings will be renovated and transformed into approximately 170 residential apartments, as well as 121 hotel rooms, with approximately 33,000 square feet additional for office or retail use. It will lead to the creation of approximately 95 full-time equivalent jobs, with estimated annual payroll of $3.8 million. They are requesting approval for a TIF, and the details of the TIF are on the screen. We are proposing a 30-year TIF, non-school. The median annual TIF value to the developer is about $746,902, and the estimated total value of this TIF is at $16.5 million. We use the word estimated because the county will actually calculate the actual number when they pull the permit and when the construction is done. So the county calculates it for the state, not the city. The estimated net increase is $29,724,571 in income tax revenues to the city and the schools. So as my director said, this is a transformative project, and on here is the proposed community benefits above and beyond the usual community benefits. So they will still do the standard MBE, FBE, CSB, as well as resident employment. So above and beyond that, they will be putting $100,000 in the Community Equity Fund within 24 months of this CBA execution. The CBA is already in place and executed. They also have a workforce development agreement in place and executed. So they would also include MBE firms in competitive bid processes, even beyond the construction, through their property management company. They will utilize the certified MBE as their owner's rep, and they will attend not the 3 required, but 6 community benefit expos during and after construction. They have incorporated LEED Silver principles for home units, in the project design and construction and have integrated other improvements in landscaping, lighting, security, and safety features, infrastructures that will be very beneficial to our downtown main areas, as the project is intersecting two major commercial corridors, downtown Cleveland. They are in active collaboration with OEO and their council person, and they have agreed to hire up to 10 nearby residents and will be paying living wage to those residents and will provide career advancement opportunities to ensure living wage pay for all their full-time housekeeping, front desk, maintenance, and food service staff, of course, with the exception of tipped employees whose salaries are based on tips. Those are not included in the living wage discussion.
Thank you. Do the owners or any of the other stakeholders want to make any comments before I get comments from the council?
Yes, sir.
Please proceed.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here this morning. I'm Greg Kramer, Senior Vice President of Government Affairs and Business Development with Green Harvest Capital. On behalf of the entire Project Scarlet team, I would like to begin by thanking the administration, Mayor Bibb, Chief McNair, Director Bordeaux-Small, Director Mitchell, and Chief Administrative Officer Izupwe. I would also like to thank Cleveland City Council, Council President Griffin, Council Member Starr, all members of council who have toured Project Scarlet, provided letters of support, and have encouraged us along the way. A sincere thank you. Green Harvest Capital is based in Greater Cleveland. We operate 3 business verticals. 1, hospitality. 20 hotels via Marriott, Hilton, IHG. We own the Hilton Hampton Inn around the corner on East 9th Street. 2, multifamily. We operate 1,700 affordable workforce housing units exclusively in Cuyahoga and Summit counties, and 3, industrial. Our industrial division is headquartered on Hinckley Industrial Parkway in the city of Cleveland. The Rose Building, built in 1900, 400,000 square feet, 10 stories. When it opened, it was an architectural marvel. It still is. It is a unique building that will house a unique hospitality multifamily project. As has been mentioned, there will be a Marriott Tribute Hotel that will have 121 rooms that will be accessed on Prospect Avenue, and it will contain the world's first Marriott Tribute branded apartments, 171 units that will be accessed off East 9th Street. This is a transformational project for the city of Cleveland. It bridges the Gateway District, Playhouse Square, and Public Square. It complements other investments in the Rock Block, such as COSM Cleveland. As referenced when this legislative body last met on July 15th, and the director has mentioned earlier this morning, the demand for office space has declined significantly over the years, especially post-pandemic in downtown Cleveland. As Council President Griffin stated when we last met a month ago, there are currently 33 buildings that are either in sheriff's sale, foreclosure, or receivership in downtown Cleveland. Without question, this is a high visibility location, a key corner, a key intersection. Some would say it is the front door and the welcome mat of our city. The bottom line is Project Scarlet will take a currently vacant 400,000 square foot building and bring it back to life via an impactful hospitality multifamily project. Project Scarlet will not only benefit downtown Cleveland, but it will also positively impact all 15 wards throughout the city of Cleveland. New jobs that pay a living wage of in excess of $19 an hour, which is approximately $3 an hour above the City of Cleveland's current minimum wage, 640 construction jobs with a corresponding payroll of $41 million. And it has been mentioned earlier, and we believe this is a very important point, Cleveland Public Schools will receive approximately $27 million as a result of Project Scarlet. The project will work to stabilize our city's population, and it opens up downtown Cleveland and the entire city of Cleveland to additional development and outside investment. In conclusion, and just to reiterate, this unique $130 million hospitality multifamily project will bring a 400,000 square foot building back to life and reinvigorate a neighborhood via a Marriott Tribute Hotel and world's first Marriott Tribute branded apartments. Administration officials, Council President Griffin, Council Member Starr, all members of Cleveland City Council, thank you for the ongoing partnership. We welcome your support of this transformational project, and we very much look forward to continuing this relationship and building upon it to benefit the citizens of the City of Cleveland for many years to come. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll go into questions, but before I go into questions, this was relieved from DPS. Councilwoman Santana, did you have any comments?
Council President, I don't have any comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Starr, did you want to open, close? Okay. Councilman Brian Casey, and then Councilman Mike Palencia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to our presenters, thank you for being here today. With a TIF being offered by the City of Cleveland, can you go over what the community benefits agreement is for the TIF?
On the screen. So the CBA, okay, is the person
Go ahead, Director Mitchell.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Through the chair to the council person, as Ifoma went over earlier, I'll just give some highlights of the community benefits agreement, particularly the things I'm excited about. But we have $19 million of certified spend on this project. That's including $9.4 million of MBE, $4.4 million of FBE, and $5 million of small business. Of course, we have the Fannie Lewis rule that's going to be there. We have 2 mentor proteges, 2 Cleveland resident apprenticeships that will be a part of this. More excitingly, 10 Cleveland resident interns will be a part of this project, and they will receive $20 an hour for 160 hours, 3 community meetings. We also have a minority joint venture partner at the owner's rep level, which is Next Gen Construction. 4 job fairs, sustainability will be LEED Silver, and we have a $100,000 contribution to the Community Equity Fund. They also have a commitment to reach out for maintenance work when this project is activated to minorities for the maintenance and the landscaping work. And also, as was mentioned earlier, the living wage requirement in the hotel. Now, I've tried to negotiate a lot. Well, I've negotiated a lot of these community benefits agreement, and I struggle to get a living wage requirement in a community benefits agreement. And I don't think I've ever been able to do it yet until this project. As was mentioned, it'll be a $19 an hour for a 2-year period at least for the internal staff. And that's one of the big things I've been pushing. When we give money to a project, they should have a living wage requirement on the retail. So I'm excited about that. And let me also give this last benefit, an unanticipated benefit. They're activating this retail on the first floor. And right now they have a commitment for a large construction company to take that first floor retail, and will be coming from Medina or Medina County and bring in their W-2 wages to the City of Cleveland. So I'm excited about the community benefits here, Councilperson.
All right, Mr. Chairman, to whoever can answer, what's the $100,000 community equity fund?
Through the chair to the councilperson, this is when you all created the legislation for the community benefits agreement, we added a provision that a developer can commit to an equity fund, do a contribution. Its design is very similar to in the Bedrock deal where we have $25 million coming back. The city can, with the approval of council and the administration, can utilize these funds as needed.
So, Mr. Chairman, whomever can answer, have those dollars been allocated yet? Do we know what?
Through the chair to the councilperson, no.
And does that go to the city in general, the $100,000?
Correct.
And then we don't know where it would go from there?
Correct. I'm sorry.
We have to approve it.
Okay.
Under ordinance 747-2023, we have to approve it.
Okay. And then, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Kramer, how many of these apartments are market rate and how many are low income?
Through the chair to the council member, Councilman Casey, they're all market rates, sir.
Okay. And then, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Kramer, did the company pay anything not to have market rate low income housing?
Through the chair to the council member, Councilman Casey, the answer is yes, sir.
And Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Kramer, how much was that?
Through the chair to the council member, I believe, sir, it was approximately $850,000.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, to whomever can answer, where does that $850,000 go?
Through the chair to the councilman, there was a sub-fund created for those funds. Finance created them. The legislation does not speak to what happens to those funds.
All right, Mr. Chairman, to whomever can answer, did they just go into the general fund? Or it's a sub-fund for this project specific, which will have approximately $950,000 in it now?
Through the chair, it does not go back to this project.
No, I know, it's in the general fund under a sub.
Yes, there's a sub-fund that's created. I don't know that it goes back into the general fund. I don't know the specifics.
Okay, and then, Mr. Chairman, to the council president, we have the ability, and that money could be spent anywhere in the city?
There is flexibility, but I do want to make sure that I don't have that piece of legislation in front of me, but I do know it has to come back through council.
Okay.
And there has been, through working with our finance team, and actually Councilman Starr has requested, and we're looking at getting all of those numbers and seeing what is going into that fund.
Okay. And is that just a fund for this project, or is that just like a general for all the projects?
Through the chair, it would be all projects that opt into the payment in lieu.
Okay.
Thus far, there's only one other project, University East, for a total of $240,000.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Kramer, why pay the $850,000 as opposed to allowing low-income housing to be part of this project?
Through the chair to the council member, Councilman Casey, when we put the project together, as I mentioned earlier, when we try to make a project like this pencil, this was a business decision that we made to make the entire project market rate, both the multifamily, so it would go with the hospitality component.
And Mr. Chairman, or Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Kramer, I'm going to tell you what it sounds like to me, right? And nothing against you guys because it's your project, but this is going to be for anybody who's going to pay this in lieu of fine as opposed to allowing low-income housing to come to a project. It's the modern-day version of redlining is what it is. We're giving you guys $14 million in a TIF overall over the 30 years, and you're telling us that the building is too good for low-income housing, okay? And even to prove that, you're paying an $850,000 in lieu of fine, tax, whatever you want to call it. And I think the project is good for you guys. You wouldn't be investing if it wasn't going to be good for you guys. It's going to be good for the city, but it's not good for low-income people, right? And they have the right to live just like anybody else wherever they would be able to, but because just doesn't seem right to me that we're giving corporate America the ability to pay a fine or a tax in lieu of to not allow low-income people to live in such a luxurious place. And Mr. Chairman and Mr. Kramer, do you want to touch on CPP, or is that just a foregone conclusion that you guys don't want to use CPP either.
Through the chair to the council member, Councilman Casey, when we met a month ago, or even I can back further, when you took the time to take a tour of the Rose Building, which we appreciated, we had a very constructive, productive conversation. CPP was a major component of that conversation. When this legislative body met a month ago on July 15th, we indicated that we did not have an issue with CPP, that we were making a business decision, but that we were open to continuing the conversation. With that said, after our meeting a month ago, I reached out to Director Keene, who, as always, was very responsive, indicated that we would like to have a dialogue and look at the options for CPP. Last Wednesday, CPP sent a delegation to the Rose Building. All of the individuals on this side of the table participated in that. I don't want to call it a tour, but we walked the basement of the Rose Building. There was a very good conversation about the realities of a 130-year-old building and what could or could not be done. CPP is in the process of putting together a plan or a proposal of what their recommendation would be to bring electricity into the building. Once we receive that plan proposal, our team will collectively review it, do the due diligence it deserves, assess a cost with that, and make a decision in conjunction with CPP.
All right, well, and Mr. Chairman and Mr. Kramer, thank you very much, but I'm not going to hold my breath on you guys going with CPP. But at least you're going through the steps in the process of making it look like you're attempting to, so I can appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Thanks to the team.
Thank you, Councilman Michael Palenci.
Mr. Chairman, and to the presenters, many of the questions that I would have had been already asked by Councilman Casey, but I want to say this again to the administration. The payment in lieu of affordable housing, that I want to get that clear. That is in a specific special fund.
Yes, through the chair to the councilman, my understanding is that when the previous tax abatement ordinance was passed, that this was something that was created, that there'd be a sub-fund established by the finance department for these funds to.
Okay, and I would hope to my honorable colleagues that we could talk more internally about that, because the question is, if that payment is in lieu of affordable rental opportunities or affordable housing, that maybe those funds should be directed specifically for affordable housing in the city and to provide support. Because clearly, when you look collectively at the city, we're told now that the majority of our residents are now tenants. They lease, they don't own property. Which used to be just the opposite in our neighborhoods, where the majority of people were homeowners. And the dynamics of that has changed dramatically in the course of just the time I've been here. To the developers, how critical is the TIF to this project?
To the councilman through the chair.
Please speak up.
To the councilman through the chair, thank you for the question. Throughout this process, which we started nearly over 2 years ago now, of evaluating the financial success of the project, we've included the TIF as part of that evaluation. We started our conversations with the Economic Development Department and other city officials back in early 2024. From the beginning, it's been a critical component of the evaluation and the financial support for the project. Over the time that we've gone from 2024 until now, as you can imagine, costs have escalated and continue to grow and develop. Over the last couple of months, we've had additional requests from our investor and lender partners for additional reserves based on the challenges of developing projects in downtown Cleveland. So I would say now more than ever, the TIF is a critical component, and it's a requirement of our lender investor partners in order to move forward to closing.
So without the TIF, the project would not happen?
Correct, without the TIF.
Okay.
Would not happen.
Thank you. The council president raised the issue about the number of properties in the downtown area. And before I go into that, I want to also thank my colleague, Councilman Starr, for his engagement in this process. And I'm not going to belabor the point here, but I'd like to learn more and hear more from developers who are trying to do projects in the city. I'd like to hear what your observations are, what you believe needs to happen in the downtown business district. Again, I have 3 colleagues that represent various portions of the downtown, and I know they're very much concerned and engaged, and I appreciate all 3 of them for what they've been attempting to do. But there's no doubt downtown's in trouble. It's become very clear to me, downtown is in trouble. And I know some people are in denial over that, but the reality is when you look what buildings are being sold for, 10 cents on the dollar or less should concern all of us. And this is a historic building, and it's a prominent building, and I've gone past it God knows how many times in the course of my years here at City Hall. So I know the importance of that and on Prospect Avenue. But what I would hope, and I'm not going to belabor the point, what I would hope to learn, and maybe through the chair of the committee and through the council president, maybe to have a sit down with folks who are trying to do development, who are looking at buildings in this city. What would it take? What do we have to put on the table to get things going again? Because when I drive around and I see the empty buildings that were once full, I see an empty hotel up the street here, the Reserve Square is in meltdown. I look at what other buildings are being sold for, and now we're losing the Browns, which an impact of other 700 employees from the jail will be leaving. Good paying jobs will be leaving the downtown area. I'm concerned over the next several years, really what's the game plan for downtown, because I don't see it. And I know my colleagues are working diligently to have a plan here and work on specific projects. So I'm not going to belabor the point. So I would ask him through the chair and through the chair of the committee that at some point we need to sit down with the developers, the development community, the real estate folks. Pick your brains. Tell us what you think has to happen to change the curve or the trajectory that downtown has been on for the last several years. And because again, I'm greatly concerned by what I'm hearing. And again, I appreciate Councilman Starr's engagement, Councilman Davis, Councilwoman House Jones, their engagement in the downtown area. But we need help and we need direction. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And just to let you know, we were in the process of trying to put together a special informational session to talk about exactly what you're talking about. Unfortunately, we ran out of time in last session, but we do plan on trying to do something like that this upcoming session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Councilman Tanmay Shah, and then Councilman Austin Davis.
Thank you to the chair and thank you to the team for your time and willingness to be here to walk us through this. I know we talked about this a little bit last time when you were at the table. To the chair, to the director, I wanted to understand, I know we had talked about getting some information on the presentations about the money we're diverting away from non-school agencies and departments. Do you have an update on that? Would you like to speak to that?
Through the chair, Afoma, I believe we've broken that down.
Yes, we've tried to break that down, and I can get that to you, Councilman, because we have a breakdown of that. I just don't have that spreadsheet now, but I can forward it to you later.
I'm sorry, I couldn't really hear.
Yes. I worked with a team member, David, to try to look into that. I just was not able to have that spreadsheet on me, but I will get that to you. We have that breakdown. Most of them are small. The most significant one is the school, which is why we usually flag that, but the other ones we can get to you as well.
Okay. I appreciate any efforts being made on this. I mean, I'm not so sure that they are insignificant. Something that, we've been talking about lately has been the library workers who are about to go on strike, and this is potentially because of the shortfalls they've had from the TIFs that council and city hall has been passing. So we really want to understand how we're impacting the library workers' ability to be getting paid because of these shortfalls. And I'm kind of at a loss here of, why we haven't been able to come up with this information yet, when we know how much money we're going to be diverting away from schools and whatnot. So it seems like something we should be able to come up with.
Through the chair, it's certainly something that we flagged, and we should be able to provide that for you.
Okay, and I want to make sure that that's included in future TIF projects that are being brought to council, so we once again get a full understanding before we vote on what exactly we're taking away from where, instead of just seeing the net positive that we're touting. So I would appreciate that going forward. In terms of the living wage requirements for 2 years, I wanted to understand, to the director or to the project team, what happens after 2 years?
To the councilman through the chair, with respect to whether or not the employees continue to make a living wage or with respect to the CBA? Yeah, I'm sorry, the response was, or in a question, are you referring to whether or not they'll continue to make a living wage, or what is the implications with respect to the CBA?
Whether they'll continue making living wage, and if not, what avenues do we have, Director Mitchell, to enforce or to ask them to continue doing that? I mean, go ahead.
Yep.
I'll let you answer.
Sure. To the councilman through the chair, the living wage that we've estimated is based on our other assets that we have, our other hotel properties that we have in the market, including the Cleveland Hampton Inn downtown, and which averages around $20 per hour, and up from there, depending on what level you are, whether you're assistant manager or director of sales or those sorts of things. So I would imagine that those sorts of wages with regular COLA increases would continue throughout the duration of the project.
And to the director.
Through the chair to councilperson. After 2 years, technically, the way this is written, we do not have any mechanism to enforce living wage going forward. So,
Okay. And can you remind me again, how long is this TIF for, to the director through the chair? To Director Smalls, maybe Bordeaux Smalls?
Through the chair to the councilman, it's a 30-year TIF. The TIF payments does not start until year 16.
And my understanding is the TIF on the residential portion is not going to start until the abatement runs, right?
Yeah.
Which is 15 years?
Yes.
So we're actually looking at a property that will be subsidized by city taxes for 45 years.
They run together, so it's still 30 years.
They run together, or they run?
So the 30-year, the first 15 years will be the abatement period, and then the next 15 years will be when the TIF will be added on for a total of 30 years, not 45.
I see. So we're looking at 30-year TIF, and for 2 years of that, our residents will be guaranteed a fair wage employment. But I understand you're going to make your best efforts to the development team, but as you said earlier, at the end of the day, it's going to be business decisions that you have to make, such as not including affordable housing in these projects because they're not going to pencil. At a point where it comes up that it's not going to be generating potentially the profits you're seeking, that's going to be the first thing to go, and we're not going to have any avenue to uphold that portion towards our residents. And this, once again, to the rest of my colleagues, I think is really concerning that we're really only getting some guarantees for 2 years when we're on our end subsidizing this property for 30 years. And if anyone would like to comment on that, you can, of why you think that shouldn't be as such, but to me that seems pretty unfair to the residents of Cleveland.
Through the chair to the council member, Councilmember Shaw, we do not see under any circumstances where wages, regardless of the CBA, would fall with the workers in the hotel and the multifamily.
Thanks. I yield for now, Chair. I would like to make a motion at the end of discussion to amend the piece to include libraries to also be made whole, the Cleveland Public Library. Since we're also making the CMSD district whole, I would also like to make a motion after discussion is over. Would like to have that discussion as well.
I will respectfully not accept that amendment because there has been a tremendous amount of work that has gone into this. According to the rules, I do not need to accept that because the council person on record in that area has been very involved, and I do not make it a practice of starting to amend bills that council members and others have put a tremendous amount of work and had discussions on doing. This would have been a discussion that would have had to happen before we are at this point. I respectfully decline to accept that motion.
I'm going to let Councilman Starr speak to it. My understanding is he had indicated
I'll
he would
let
be
Councilman
supportive.
Starr close. He's got closing comments, and he can. He's the council person on record, and he's going to be the person that's going to close in that area. Okay. So, Councilman, did you have any other questions before we let Councilman Davis and then Councilman Starr is going to be the closer?
I yield for now.
Okay, Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Council President. I'll be quick because I'd love to hear all of that. Very briefly to the development team, thank you again for joining us here today. I just want to pick up on a quick thought that my colleague Councilman Casey brought up. You know Cleveland Public Power has increasingly become essential for me. My ward has had something like over a half dozen major outages this year. So many folks throwing out groceries, reports of insulin, breast milk, it's always troubling. And so I'm very excited that you're going to be bringing, I believe it's, correct me if I'm wrong, 170 new housing units and 120 hotel units, just about. That's fantastic. It's a lot of new people in the city coming and going and a lot of electrical usage. And so I'll make the point to this table that we need to get creative when it comes to CPP, that we need to figure out ways to get more streams of revenue into this public body because, boy, it needs it. If there's a way for us to convert the incremental increases in property tax revenue into CPP infrastructure, I think we need to jump on that. And so this project is baked, and I really appreciate the development team that you guys, Greg and all, been having these conversations with CPP. Very excited to hear what they're able to come with and then what you're able to analyze and how we can help on this council too. Because I'll just emphasize, if we have, it sounds like, $950,000 that are coming to the city coffers from this project, we should discuss ways to turn that into public infrastructure through this project or nearby or other ways that are associated with it. Cleveland Public Power is what people rely on to keep their lights on, to eat day to day. And if this project can help my people keep their groceries cold, then I'm really excited about it. So that's the point I wanted to make. One more time, this project has my vote and support. Very excited to see the growth of downtown continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. Councilman Starr, you have the closing remark. This is in your area, and you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President, as well as members of this committee of the whole for coming here today. And I believe this ordinance number is 693. I was made aware about this project around December of last year at the election season, and I got a chance to meet with the development team, meet with the development Office of Development, as well as OEO to discuss some of these different tools that are being used to bring a building back to life. 400 square feet in the heart of downtown, right off of East 9th, $130 million development project that was already started, and I was trying to be able to get made whole of what is actually going on. So one of the things that I definitely will comment on is the fee in lieu, which is something that Cleveland City Council and with ordinance number 482 -2022, we passed and we put these tools in place to allow these options to happen. So when you talk about the fee in lieu and you talk about a developer having to pick between 3 different options on how they wanted to do their development, we set those parameters to allow a developer to be able to say, hey, I want to do all market rate apartments, and they will pay the fee in lieu, which is not necessarily a penalty, but is subjected to them to be able to say a certain percentage of affordable units they can pay up to, I believe it's 20,000. So my first question would be through the chair to the development team. How many actual units would it be in this development again, for the record?
And please speak louder because we're having a hard time hearing you.
To the councilman, through the chair, there's 171 residential units in the development.
So if you have 171 development units, all right, and then if we calculate that by $20,000, does that actually break down the finances of the $850,000 fee in lieu that has been doing, that is taking place? Or are we using the marketed area study as well to include how that price got to $850,000 through the chair?
Through the chair to the council person, it's 25% of units are required, or you pay the payment in lieu.
So you had to pay, so out of that 171, how many is 25% of that offhand? Is it 70, 74, like 43, 44?
42.75, Councilman.
So right now, based on the ordinance 482-2022, the developer in the application part 1 came to the city, applied for the application that was set forth for it to begin, I believe, January 1 of 2024, that this went into place, that you only have to pay that $850,000 as one of the options based on getting your project whole. Through the chair, is that correct?
Through the chair to the council person, that's correct, and council approved the CRA unanimously when it was approved.
So one of the things I would just say to my colleagues, we can't beat up on a developer for playing the game that we set forth. We can't. This building is vacant. Medical Mutual left it. They also, Medical Mutual did a good job keeping the upkeep and maintenance of the building. And then it was sat vacant for almost 2 or 3 years. And now we got a developer here who wants to develop it and use the rules that this council passed. And then we're going to try to beat up on the developers, y'all. I'm just saying in general, as a council, because that's how it was written. We're beating up on a developer who's going to spend $130 million for hospitality as well as apartment usage, and they're going to hire Cleveland residents, and they have a mentor to mentee protege program, and they got a joint developer project with a minority developer company in the city of Cleveland. If we want to see more, well, we should look at amended 482-2022. But we gotta, that's one of the things that I was put in when I was able to look at the OEO and start asking for different things on the project, working with Director Tyson Mitchell and his team, and we were able to establish some parameters to help make this project whole. So I am a big component of affordable housing, but I'm also got to understand that affordable housing, what does that actually look like in today's market? Because I've seen projects come across this table that use affordable market tools to get their project across the finish line, and then the house is sold for $450,000. So if we want to see things change, we have to do our jobs and our parts to make sure we have legislations and ordinances and policies in place to ensure that the tools that we wish to see for all projects. And also we have to understand that we have to have some market rate apartments to be able to stimulate and finance the entire economy in Cleveland. One of the things that I would just tell you quick frankly, when Lonnie Burton was the council person, he was not a big fan of all public housing in one location. But the city of Cleveland did a lot of that in Ward 5, and a lot of my people are struggling to this day because of the decisions that the council made back then is affecting us today. So I just caution all of us to make sure we do our due diligence and understand what we pass, and then also understand how the tools are actually working. So I would ask from the chair to the director of development, within this tool since 2024, I believe it went into effect January 2024, how many development projects do we have in the city of Cleveland who have used option 3, which they wanted to do the fee in lieu of model in the city of Cleveland? Is there any way that your department can be able to send over that data and information so we can see how many developers are using this tool, as opposed to them trying to say, hey, we will put 42 units of affordable housing in a 171 unit apartment similar to this magnitude? Through the chair.
Through the chair, my understanding is that there's only one project, University East, and they submitted a total, it was for 12 units for a total of $240,000.
All right. And then, okay, and then from that standpoint, I know we spoke last committee of the whole in June. I wanted to ask, I did make a recommendation and request to ask for the actual funding or the finance legislation from 482 to see how many projects have actually paid into the fee in lieu, and see how much is in that account. Do we still not have that number yet? Because I haven't seen it through the chair. Is anyone can help assist with that? Anyone from the finance team here? Or the department? Because that was something we talked about in June at the committee of the whole, Council President, that I asked for a request to be able to determine how much money is in this fund where people are utilizing option 3. And if we have to legislate it, I would like to see how many pieces of ordinance that we legislated to allow them dollars to be spent. And I have not seen that information since June, Council President.
So that request was made. I do specifically remember it. Can anybody tell me why it hasn't been delivered? And I do know that it's only been 2, and but does anybody have that information?
Through the chair, I don't have that with me, but I can look into that.
Thank you. If you can get that over to me today, possibly, that would be greatly appreciated so we can hear this on the floor. But overall, I think we just got our work cut out for us as a council, just to make sure that ordinances that we pass, if we need to make some amendments, I'll be willing to do that. And then also, Austin, I will speak to the point that my colleague Tammy Shaw brought up. So we have a non-school TIF. Now, what does that non-school TIF do to actually the libraries? Do they have to pay, or do they take any burden on this project being a non-school TIF, or do the libraries get the same benefit as the schools through the table?
Through the chair, with some quick, and I want to confirm this, but quick math was done by my team, and I want to be clear that this isn't a reduction, right? This is what they will be foregoing, and it's close to 1.2 million.
So therefore, from that standpoint, potentially the libraries will be losing $1 million because of this project. Through the chair.
Again, I want to kind of reiterate, I wouldn't say losing, I would say foregoing.
So foregoing dollars that could have went to them, they're not going to receive it due to the fact that we used a non-school TIF for a $130 million project, which ultimately could have been over 30 years, $1 million to the libraries. To the chair.
Yes, but for this project happening, what they would be receiving would be staying the same.
Okay, so for the context of my understanding is, it's not money that they have right now. So if the money was available, they would be able to afford the opportunity to receive the $1 million. But since we worked it in as a non-school TIF, they're not privy to those dollars that could potentially come to them.
It's never.
So,
one second, because we got, to Councilman,
Yep.
Did you get your question out?
Yep.
Mr. Foma, I will allow your comment, and I do want to make sure that I clarify a couple of things, but go ahead.
As our director had indicated.
Please speak louder into the microphone if you could. Thank you.
Yes. So the but for the project happening, nobody, even the school, will get any additional incentive. So as it is, the project can go forward because of the way. If we take away from it, they may not pencil, and the project may not happen, and then no one gets anything, even the schools. So that is why they are doing it this way, because their bank letter of intent specifically said that but for the TIF they wouldn't lend. They would not have a primary lender but for this TIF.
Okay, I got you. So I yield, Council President.
Thank you, and that's what I was going to clear up. And Councilman, you brought up some good points, and as I told you before, I'm willing for you to review and let's sit down and look at the whole ordinances, 482, 727. I would just caution everybody, and I want us to really, recognize that past councils have done a lot of due diligence. And I will tell you that when we did 482 and when we did the community benefits ordinance, we did have developers. We actually had 3 sessions where we brought developers, unions, community people, other folks, in order to have a broad interscope of how we need to make these projects work. Councilman Polinsky just said about downtown. We have approximately 33 or more buildings in sheriff's sale, distress, or receivership in downtown, and approximately 10 million square feet of space. And I'm glad that Ms. Afoma basically described it, because if these projects don't happen, nobody gets anything. The schools, the city, the libraries, the metro parks, Tri-C. So, you know, one of the things that we need to look at, and I think this is an exercise that all of us need to look at, is how do we actually grow Cleveland and do it in a responsible way? Because you guys are asking some great questions. I totally understand my colleague, Councilman Shaw's point about what is the library losing. I have not seen that there's a direct correlation with the revenues that are coming in from these TIFs that have not gone to the library, that they have affected salaries. So I want to be careful that if we're making correlations, that we have to make sure that we define and have the real data on how that goes, because if this project doesn't get done, as Ms. Ifoma said, nobody gets anything. So, Councilman, I think you've done a good job of really making sure that this is done and making sure that this is, you know, that you negotiated a community benefit agreement that got one of the first investments, because, you know, the economic development director is right. This is the first one that has accomplished two major things. One is to make sure that usually the construction workers get taken care of, but the people that actually work in the project that are low-income workers that work for SEIU and some of the other smaller unions don't usually benefit from these kind of deals. Now, you can't say in exponentially that we're going to hold everybody to say that they have to pay it. That's a decision that a business owner is going to have to make decisions on. But I think that this is probably one of the best community benefits deals that I've seen. So I just want to caution us that, you know, a lot of times we say what council did and what council didn't do. I think that everybody who played a role in this really did a good job of making sure that we did it in a responsible way. So once again, I think you wanted to make one last remark, and then we'll move on to the next thing.
So I would definitely echo, so the director, this is about the third time or the second time he said he made a great community benefits agreement, and those all projects happened in Ward 5. So I'm going to let y'all know. I'm not an expert in anything, but I do know community benefits. But one thing I would definitely ask, Council President, from the request that I have asked regarding the finance legislation account where we put in through that option 3 fee in lieu, do we have a sub fund number that can be sent over? Do we know that sub fund number potentially, so we can be able to do some research on that? I would love to have that sub fund number.
Absolutely. If I could, I'm going to ask Ms. Magistro, who is our staff, to work directly with Mr. Barrett to get the sub-fund number and the amount of money that's in there. That should be something that everybody should be able, have access to within the next half an hour. Okay? Fair enough. Councilman Shaw had one last point, then Councilman Slife had one brief point as well. He had a just clarification question. Councilman Shaw.
I just want to push back a little bit, Chair. I appreciate the background context for the piece, but I have spoken to the library leadership. They have indicated this is making a bottom line difference for them. And I know Councilman Slife and Councilwoman Hudson and I were just with the SEIU bargaining team yesterday, and they are deadlocked in a contract negotiations that is not moving forward, and they're refusing to pay some of their lowest paid workers a living wage directly because of the financial issues they're having statewide. But this piece plays a big role in that. And I hear Director Bordeaux Small's pushback on the foregoing one, but if we believe these make big enough of an impact for CMSD, and we recognize and we're willing to make that whole, I just don't understand why we're willing to carve out parks and libraries as something that our people don't need, and we're willing to let go of the funding for the next 30 years for those projects. So I guess I'm at a loss, and I guess if I don't have a second for a discussion at least that we should make the libraries whole, it's going to be moot. But I would like to at least discuss it and take a vote on how we make libraries whole out of this piece.
Councilman Slife.
Thank you, and Councilman Shaw is correct. I was with the, did stop by the Memorial Library yesterday, as did others, where the library workers are bargaining with management. I pulled up your tax bill through the chair. And annually, about $30,500, say, goes to the library from this property. So based on that, and then what the director said, if the TIF, and I'm going to come back to this, but if the TIF weren't in place 30 years from now, it would be approximately $70,000 in today's values. So while I also share the desire to make sure that our library workers are paid what they deserve based on the work that they perform, I also am concerned that, frankly, the library is top-heavy in administration, and there are individuals that are making very, very healthy salaries that you could easily extract $70,000 from. But I got on not to say that as much to clarify to the director through the chair. I want to understand. My understanding is this property is already TIFed due to the core to shore to core TIF, and that this would essentially extract this property from that geographical TIF and make it an individualized parcel-based TIF. So I want to make sure I understand what we are approving, what the reality is, and if this weren't to pass or there were other carve-outs for other entities, how that would intersect with the geographical TIF. Because right now, the library, the county, the metro parks are already not receiving the incremental property taxes due to the core to shore to core TIF. That's just going towards downtown area-wide infrastructure development rather than project financing.
Through the chair, that's correct. The way that we're handling this is we're carving it out of the shore to core to shore TIF district. The reason for that is because of the catalytic nature and significance of this project. We really want it to be successful, and in our, but-for analysis, we have found that it was necessary to do so.
Okay. To that end, and this is sort of beyond the point of this legislation, but I do think it would be useful for this body to get a briefing at some point on the core to shore to core TIF, because I worry that there's some tipping point where the value of that becomes reduced if we are then extracting properties out of it. You kind of Swiss cheese it over time, and does it become less effective? So thank you.
Through the chair, I just want to add that that is something that we've noted, and there have been projects that we have denied to carve out because of that.
Yeah, and there have been some that I do recall that we carved out because we did not do that. But this one seems more catalytic and more economic, so that's the reason we looked at. But I think that's a conversation we do need to have. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 693-2026 stands approved. Please sign on the committee that you represent. As amended. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, council members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have 941-2026, Circle Square TIF, intro and passage. And we're going to bring the Economic Development Director up with this group as well. All right, this is ordinance number 941-2026 by Councilmember Santana and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to amend section 2 of ordinance number 906-2020 passed December 2nd, 2020 relating to a tax increment financing agreement with Library Lofts LLC or UC Center LLC and/or designees for a development project to remove the term not to extend beyond 2052 and to provide a summary of supplemental project phases and authorizing amendments to existing TIF agreements and supplemental TIF escrow agreements. Director.
Thank you, Chair. Today I have with me for this project Bobby Bruno, who's a rock star and has been the project manager for this project. I also have with me Steve Rubin, Vice President of UC City Center, and Ken Kalinchuk, who is Director and Principal over at PMC. Bobby has been hard at work on this project and will be presenting project details.
Good morning to the chair and to the council. And so this is an amendment to an existing piece of TIF legislation passed back in 2020 for the Circle Square project. Where's our little clicker? And so just to give you some background, so that ordinance number was 906-2020, passed in December of that year, and it authorized the director to enter into TIF agreements for Circle Square. If you look at the slideshow there, kind of where that star is, you can see south of Chester, east of 105th Street, and north of Euclid Avenue is really sort of the area that the first phase of the project was comprised along. The future phases will be in that same block as well as east of Stokes, kind of where that rightmost point of that star is. And so the phases that have been completed since that 2020 legislation were the Artisan, which is primarily a residential development of 298 units, as well as the Library Lofts, which are 207 residential units, as well as a new MLK branch of the library, as well as some structured parking to support those phases. And so the amendment that we're coming to request today is to remove language that limited the TIF term not to extend past 2052. There are upcoming project phases I'm really excited to describe to you that obviously will not begin until 2026, and the intended 30-year TIF term could not be made under the current legislation. So we're looking to strike that 2052 language. Just to kind of give you all a visual on the phases completed to date, on the left-hand side you can see an exterior image of the library lofts as well as a photo of that new Cleveland Public Library branch. And on the right-hand side is a picture of the Artisan. So some really large-scale development occurring here. The upcoming phases that this amendment will impact are a hotel projected to be 170 keys or guest rooms, about 20,000 square feet of commercial space accompanying that, likely for retail end users, as well as 300 structured parking spaces. And that would be on the same block where the existing developments happened. If you go directly east across Stokes, there's another structure that will be constructed, 281 residential units and about 17,000 more square feet, and 291 parking spaces. If you go to the most southern portion of the East Stokes block, there is the ability for a third future additional commercial or residential development, which scope is to be determined. And so our request is to remove that language limiting, or that language that limits the TIF term to 2052 to enable the hotel, future residential, and third future project phase. We know for certain just between the hotel and the residential, it will create 103 new full-time equivalent jobs in the city of Cleveland, representing a $98,000 estimated annual income tax. So that is sort of what is to gain from the future phases. With that, happy to pass this to our project team if they'd like to add anything and field any questions.
Mr. Rubin.
Just go back one slide, just to... There we go. I just want to add one thing to Mr. Bruno's presentation.
Just put that in front of him.
You can't hear me. Okay, is that better? Okay. One more back. On the, no, back, you were on the right one, I'm sorry. The 20,000 of commercial space that you see is the new commercial space for retail. There already exists 14,000 square feet under the Artisan. So all of these things that you see here stretch from Reserve Court all the way to Chester, and they will all be connected so that it will be one retail run. This side of the street has large depth retail, so that it will be larger boxes that we hope to attract. And on the other side of the street, which is really what we're here for today. It is smaller depth, so that you will have the smaller retailers, most of whom we hope to be amenity retailers and food people that you can come out and do your daily errands, bank, et cetera. And we're also looking at some health and wellness things to put in. This is not intended to be an East 4th Street entertainment district. This is intended to be part of a neighborhood that we're trying to create. So I just wanted to add that one minor, clarification. Just to pick up, I don't want to take too much time because I know you have a big, very large agenda. We started this in 2014 when the city put out an RFP for the, I think it was the 5th District Police Station, when you were combining and building a new police station. And we have been working continuously since then on this project. It is very complex. It involves vertical subdivisions that are very complex, lending that is very complex, and we did not expect to hit a pandemic. We did not expect to hit crazy increases in materials and interest rates that are fluctuating wildly. So we have, notwithstanding all that, with the partnership that we have enjoyed with the city, have been able to overcome that. And I do want to make clear, no matter what, that all the progress we've made to date has been due to the partnership that we have enjoyed with the city, with the administration, the council, staff, Director Small, Director Mersman, Director DeRosa, and some predecessors because of the amount of time that we've been at this. But we are excited at this next phase because it also establishes a really beautiful streetscape that is a gathering place for people who are our customers, whether they're at the library, whether they're in visiting the retail, whether they're residents, et cetera. So this is not only just buildings, but also a streetscape that we hope will tie into all the improvements that are being discussed at the Wade Oval and in some of these other areas that surround us. And with that, I'll turn it over for questions.
Thank you. And I first want to say, Steve graciously stayed our entire meeting in July. And I think just to watch and try to prepare, but he actually stayed the entire meeting. And I know that this is a continuation of what's already been being built over there. I first want to make sure I ask Councilwoman Jasmine Santana if she's okay relieving this.
Yeah, Council President, I met with Chief McNair, and he gave me a rundown of the proposed amendment, and I relieved it to the Committee of the Whole because there is some urgency to move the work forward. So,
absolutely.
And as long as the council member, I think this is in Conwell's area,
Actually, it's in 6 now, but I'm going to go to
You're
Conwell
the
next.
new chief.
I finally get a project I can advocate for myself.
It's a nice one.
But yes, thank you so much, Councilwoman. Councilman Conwell, I know that you passed the baton to me, but you have done the yeoman's work on this. Did you want to make any comments?
This project and with Steve, he met the people in the community and the residents in the community. He talked with them about their issues and concerns. As a matter of fact, when you look at the MLK Library, Council President, it was these guys that helped push that MLK Library over there, and now we're hosting a lot of community meetings and events in the MLK Library. So, matter of fact, I still visit it a lot, and I go over there to do events, and they made sure they hired a lot of African Americans and females. They never ever broke from their community benefits. So they have the honesty and credibility and integrity. So, I asked my colleagues to support this project. Thank you very much. Matter of fact, I was even over here talking with Richard Starr about it, Councilman Starr about them. Thank you.
And thank you. I know that Councilman Conwell, through redistricting, passed the baton to me in this project. I'm also asking my colleagues if they will support this. We worked closely with the developers of this project over the last few years. Once again, part of the old community benefit that they worked with was to build the new library. And we now have a brand new library that replaced the old outdated library that was over there and other things. So I believe the community really has benefited very much from this. And even though I have only been shepherding over this for the last 8 months, these guys have been very intentional in working with me and me keeping Conwell in the loop, because I know that this is a project that he really shepherded until we had redistricting. So I ask my colleagues to resupport this amendment as well.
With the MLK Library, it's a jewel that's there, and it stays busy, and we really needed the MLK Library, Martin Luther King Library. And when we did the opening, I'm not going to be long, this project team was there, but they never ever tried to they never ever patted themselves on the back, whatever the case may be. That's why a lot of people don't know, but they were there helping out 100%, and I applaud them, me as well as my wife. It's a good piece. Thank you very much.
And I know this is an ancillary piece, but I have to add this as well. I know Zach is not here, but one of their leadership team, one of the things that they do just on their own is that they provide free eye care and free health care and free health services to thousands of residents in that area on a regular basis. So when you talk about how we're getting our value out of working with this developer, I know Conwell didn't mention that, but they work closely with us on that too.
MetWorks and MetWish, they've battled against healthcare inequality, and they have put helped a lot of people, Mr. President. I mean thousands with glasses and deal with glaucoma, and for free for years. They've MetWorks and MetWish. Very, very, very good stakeholders and partners in the city of Cleveland. Thank you.
So see, Councilman Starr, me and Councilman Conwell know how to put together a pretty good package too.
Yeah, Council President, I seen how it was when it was in Ward 9, and then I see what it is today. So thank you for your leadership.
All right, teamwork makes the dream work. All right, seeing no other questions, this ordinance will be for Councilman Shaw. Sorry about that, Councilman Shaw. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just real quick, I know I wasn't here when the initial one was passed. I just had a couple questions that I'm assuming the rest of the table already knows the answer to, but forgive my ignorance. Through the chair to the team, because this was done before the Community Benefits Agreement ordinance was passed, if we're extending this one from the old piece, does that mean we're not going through any of that process? I don't know if, could someone kind of walk me through that?
We pretty much already have determined the terms for that. So because this was started in 2014, we didn't pass the community benefits ordinance until 2023. We had already, this actually was pretty much the standard that we kind of based a lot of the community benefits ordinance that we did put together off of. So yeah, it was, this was already in motion, and that's why this is just an amendment to carry over what they have already agreed and to work with us on.
So we do have a CBA for this project?
We worked with them on CBA before we even had a CBA agreement, before a CBA was even a popular word. It was basically, we just said these are things that the community needs. Community benefits ordinance and community benefits were not codified until this council took the step, unprecedented step, to pass it in 2023. The reason that we codified it is because it was originally just basically a handshake and a nod. I'm being honest. And a lot of people agreed that they would play ball and do this, from the Greater Cleveland Partnership, the labor unions, the schools, and everybody else in 2012 under former Mayor Frank Jackson. But then we wanted to take the step to take it a step further, which a lot of people did not want us to do, to codify it in 2023. So before 2023, there was no guideline or anything to do community benefits. That's true. We just would literally have those conversations with developers.
So are there agreements for this project?
Everything that they have done, that they agreed to, they negotiated with Conwell, and they've continued to agree to all of those things that we are doing now.
And since we have the chance to pass another one now that we're extending it, I guess my question would be, why not just structure it as a new one so that we can codify those things that are not written down?
Well, Councilman, and I understand what you're asking is that now we do have a law, so why aren't we applying the law to this? Because one, this is just an amendment, and two, they, One thing we have to be careful about as a council is once deals are negotiated, not to try to go in and renegotiate deals. So since this was already done and they have been living up to their agreements, and Councilman Conwell used to be satisfied, and then since I've come on board have been satisfied that they've lived up to it, there's no need to try to do an entirely new community benefit. That'd be almost renegotiating everything that we already done. And be quite honest with you, this developer has really worked with us to do a lot.
Yeah.
And so what's the cost of this TIF if we extend it? I don't think I saw that in the presentation to the director through the chair.
Director or Mr. Bruno, did you have any conversation?
Through the chair, and thank you to Ken Kalinchuk at the table for providing this this analysis of the existing phases as well as the future phases. So the TIF pilots, actually, Ken, do you have this in front of you? Thank you. I just want to make sure this is
Through the chair to the
characterized
councilman, you're asking for the incremental 3 to 5 years the TIF will provide.
Mr. President?
Yes.
You know,
While he's looking for that, Councilman Conwell.
Yeah, before this council, and I want to thank this council for putting together the benefit agreements to the chair. As you know, I used to do my own benefit agreements, and if you didn't follow through, that I would get people from the neighborhood, and we would protest you, and we would shut your job site down, and we would run people off of the site and close it. But, and I did. You can look it up. Look it right up. And I did that with Patrick Henry also. They didn't do benefit to people. They didn't hire not one African American on that job site. So I went there with Norman Edwards. We had 100 guys, and we shut the site down. This group here, as you mentioned, Mr. President, you know, I'm very, very happy. I trust them. As I mentioned, they have good character with Zach Ponsky. They work in the neighborhood, and they give back to the neighborhood. And I'm not glad you have them. I was kind of sad about that. But with MLK Library, I really like what you guys did over there, and we never had any problems, whatever. And you would call Steve to the chair to see was everything cool beans, and everything was great. And I appreciate what you're doing. But purchasing and procurement, is that included in moving forward? Are you guys doing that over here in Ward 6? Because one thing about purchasing and procurement, it's an ongoing process. When you do deal with construction workers, the projects can close out, and then you won't have African Americans or females working on the projects. And I see some of these projects is like that. But purchasing and procurement is an ongoing process.
Totally get it.
Through the chair, to Steve.
Yes, Steve.
Yeah, we definitely pay attention to that.
Mhm.
I can tell you,
Yes.
right, the simple answer is yes. Oh, thank you. The simple answer is yes, but I can also tell you that as of right now, with the construction rush easing that we faced when we built library lofts, we now have a much easier pathway for minority contractors, women-owned businesses. Women-owned businesses was a little bit easier, but minority-owned subcontractors, et cetera, were very tied up coming out of the pandemic. We already have $16 million worth of commitments for minority-owned businesses for the next phase, which is the East Stokes Block phase, with an additional 6 minority-owned subcontractor deals pending. So we feel very, very confident that we'll far exceed.
We got it, Steve. So the answer is yes, and we got it. So the answer, I just want to make sure that I don't skip over Councilman
Of course,
Shaw's
through the
question.
chair to Councilman Shaw, I just looked at the TIF estimates for both the hotel and for East Stokes. It's about 1.75 million of additional TIF pilots to the project in those last 5 years for each of the phases. That helps support $1 million of loans now to construct each of those phases.
I see. Thank you for that. So
Thank you.
just so I'm understanding correctly, because we're extending this, how many more years?
Approximately 5. It'll roll as the project's completed. So instead of ending in
So the project
52,
will
it'll
get-
go 30 full years for each phase.
And it will get approximately, you said how many million?
1.75 of pilots to each of the phases.
So that's the additional amount of subsidy we're providing if we approve this? Okay.
In gross amount, not in net present value terms.
Sure. All right, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 941-2026 will be heard for consideration by the full council this evening. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, council members.
Thank you.
All right. I believe I have two other guests, and then we'll go into general. That the encroachment? Okay, which one is it? 766? Yes, please. All right, I got it. Thank you. This is ordinance number 766-2026 by council members House Jones Griffin, Bishop, and Santana by departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to UC Center LLC to encroach into the public right-of-way of Chester, Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, and Stokes Boulevard. Director.
Mr. Chairman, today we have an encroachment permit request for you for the Stokes East portion of the project, and Rick Swatowski is going to go through the details, but it's basically overhead encroachments that allow for this building to be constructed and optimize the space allowed.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. We'll just go right to the building. This is a new East Stokes building, which is the rendering of it. It's right across the street from the Artesian. The encroachment is, if you can see the columns on the left-hand side, that's on private property. Then the building juts up for 250 feet off of Stokes, Chester, and Martin Luther King.
Please speak into the microphone.
Martin Luther King Drive to accommodate the balconies. So we can see over here on the next slide, if you look to the left, you can see the red lines. That's the encroachment area. And if you go far to the right, you can see it in plan view, the red areas touching on those three streets again. So that's the encroachment that's being sought for this building.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Bishop, you relieved this out of municipal services?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we relieved it out of municipal services and properties.
Thank you. Development, planning, and sustainability, you relieved this out of DPS?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 766-2026 stands approved. Please sign on if you represent municipal services or DPS. Thank you
very much.
Thank you, council members.
Thank you. All right, I'm trying to make sure I'm reading this correctly. The next is ordinance number 763-2026, amending ordinance 671-2023 regarding housing bond funds. Who is representing that one? Ms. Inez, you put this down as guest, and if entirely possible, can these two be heard together? Who is the guest for this?
Oh, they wanted to hear them join.
So are they not here?
No, they just want to hear them.
Who are they? Are they here? They're not here. I'll come back to development, okay? I know everybody's trying to get creative and figure out how they could try to get pushed to the front of the line. I'm just now going in order. Exactly. All right, next is ordinance number 749-2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance to pay as moral claims the sum opposite the name of the claimant. Director and Mr. Romero.
Through the chair to the committee, so this is a request for authorization to pay $500 in moral claims. Specifically, so this was approved by the Moral Claims Committee. Specifically, this was a resident that had a tree that was growing on a vacant lot that the roots grew into their driveway and caused damage to the driveway. So the total cost to repair all this would be $880. So the Moral Claims Committee found that it would be appropriate to provide $500 to both cut the roots and then repair the driveway for this citizen. Yeah, so this is something that didn't happen obviously overnight, but the roots have been growing for the last 10 years when they built the driveway and has since caused the damage. So we're requesting the $500 to help repair that.
All right, actually, it is a Ward 6 resident, and believe me, she wants all 800, but I know that it's a little challenging. And I do want to be very, very careful that we don't start setting precedent because, we got trees all over this city that infringe on different properties. But Mr. Romero, if you could tell how we came to this decision.
Yeah, to the council president. So the committee, which is made up of 3 members of council and 2 members of the administration, which I am one of, and a law director, we reviewed it because it was a vacant lot. So that was under our jurisdiction. She had complained about it. And so we did not, we weren't proactive in that case. And her damages were reasonable. She proved her damages, and we basically split the difference with her. So we should have probably have addressed this sooner, but since we didn't, we felt that it was an issue that we're the forest city. We're trying to develop a tree canopy, but not on vacant lots.
Okay. Councilman Polinsik.
Mr. Chairman, you brought up a good point. I don't know about anyone else, but I get calls every day about these empty lots and about trees on these lots. Dead trees, trees that are hanging over on people's property. So, I mean, all I know is this, Council President touched on, if you start setting, we want fairness and equity across the board. I think the city's has to come up with a plan. We've got 18,000 vacant lots in the city, correct? 28,000, okay. I missed it by 10, okay? We got all these trees on these lots that we inherited when we get the land bank lot, and they're hanging on people's properties. They're dead. I get them all. So I'm just telling you, you better come up with a clear and concise problem or process, because I'm going to be referring everybody to moral claims, and I'm all my colleagues. They're all going to say right around this day. I'm going to refer everybody to moral claims. So get ready.
I got you.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman House Jones.
Through the chair to the finance team director, good morning. Is this because the resident has insurance that the moral claims process is moving forward?
Through the council president to the councilor, actually in this case, this was her bill. This was below her deductible.
I'm sorry, say that again?
The amount of damage was below her deductible, her homeowner's deductible. So the total bill was $880.
Okay, and this is because, and I think just for clarification, when we talk about the moral claims process, this is because the roots of the tree actually caused damage. Is that what we are saying? I just wanted to get clarification because there's a difference in the practices that the city of Cleveland has currently employed, where it's not just a tree that was on or potential to impact the property, it was that the tree actually caused damage. Is that what has occurred?
So through the president to the councilor, moral claims is when we don't have a legal liability. So that we were not legally liable to do it, but we felt that, as this was presented to the committee, that there was some part that the city could have done to help assist in this. This was our vacant lot. We maintained the vacant lots. And so we felt it was morally correct to be able to offer some remuneration in order to rectify the situation.
And, no, I'm just bringing that through the chair to the team. This is what I'm bringing up because I don't understand this, right? Literally, I've had trees that the city of Cleveland has owned who have fell on people's houses, that have fell on people's cars, and we refuse to pay it. So this is, and because the reason like, oh, because they don't have insurance. When many times in my neighborhood, people have lost their insurance due to the conditions in the city. And so I'm not understanding this. And again, this is going to be something that I'm going to look into later on. But yes, I'm supporting it. Give people their money. But this is the responsibility should be on the city, the government, who has failed to properly maintain their things that is causing harm to community members. But like I said, this is on my list. I have a running list. Moral claims is one of the things, and I will be doing more on this. Thank you.
All right. And only thing I'm going to say, I think that Mr. Romero said it, and this is to the broader public. This is why you need to report. Because what I learned is, let me take trees out of it. If there's a pothole that is not reported and somebody damages a tire with that pothole, then there is probably not going to be supported. So part of this is where this resident basically made a report and then there wasn't an action taken. So that's to your point, we need to make sure that we clarify how this actually happens. And to be honest with you, I think that it needs to be clarification. And I will tell you, in the bigger claims, they do require the moral claim, and I know this because I sit on the committee. In the bigger claims, they do require the insurance agency that you have to show you paid your deductible and did that as well. So it's a lot of other things to that. Mr. Romero is very good at helping doing that. I would advise that you have a conversation because he does a lot of risk management around this stuff. But it is a touchy subject, let me say that, very touchy subject. All right?
Yep, and I think I will always say, in the morals claims process, we need to have an equity mindset, actual process within that. At times, I don't think that we currently have it, based on, because does anybody know when the process was actually developed in the city of Cleveland?
I've been here 25 years, and it was here at least a generation before me.
Exactly. So that in and of itself speaks to, I would say, the issue that I have now, coming in 5 years ago. But thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Tomei Shaw.
Thank you, Chair. Just continuing my education, I appreciate everyone's time again. Just curious, I'm looking at the moral claims ordinance. Who from council, or who are the members of the Moral Claims Commission?
Moral Claims, I appoint 3 members as council president, and Councilman Joseph Jones, Councilman Christopher Harsh, and myself all sit on that committee. And then there's the law director, there's Mr. Romero. We are staffed by people that take pictures, that go to take visits, that do the research and everything else. Everything from water, sewer backups in the basement to damaged tires from potholes to everything else. If a citizen or a non-citizen goes through the moral claims process, it goes to that committee. And then we make a determination on that committee through a voting process on what amounts actually are determined and who all gets it. I will tell you that, it is a process. It's not just because you complain that you're going to get what you need to get. I will tell you that we really scrutinize that because, as Councilman Polinsky said, we want to be very careful not to put a city in a position where, this could get very extensive if everybody wants us to pay for their tires when these potholes come up. So that's why we do have a process and everything that goes through that, and we try to spend a lot of time really reviewing all those issues, okay?
That's helpful. And how often does the commission meet?
About, Mr. Romero, 2 or 3 times a year?
Yeah, 2 or 3 times a year, depending on the volume of claims that are put in that are deemed not to be legally liable on the city's part.
And how many did we have last year?
In total, this particular committee we had 5, and the one we had in November, we had 8.
For the whole year?
Yeah, not a lot of people do it because, Councilman, this is what I'm trying to get across, and I know that Councilwoman House Jones is talking about the equity lens. There are a lot of things in state statutes that the city is not liable for. And that's one of the reasons why we have to have attorneys there, because there are some things that residents try to get moral claims for, but the city is not legally obligated or is not through state statute and other ways obligated to do. So there's a lot more people that probably complain, but the actual ones that make it to the process of us to review are actually ones that meet the threshold that the city may have some liability that we got to be able to look through.
I appreciate that, and yeah, I'll learn more about it offline. I appreciate the explanation, and I understand. I mean,
And Mr. Romero is a very good source for that because he's a straight shooter and he's a person who I would recommend you actually talking to about that process. And I'm always open in how we can improve it.
and I would just urge when it comes to morality, we keep the lawyers out of it. As a lawyer myself, and no disrespect to any other lawyers, morals should be different than legality. And I appreciate the work from the commission on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Conway, you had a brief comment before we move on?
Yeah, although I'm not happy with moral claims. You know, put me on there next time, because every time my residents file something with moral claims, they get denied, Mr. President. And it's just so embarrassing because what they do, they blame it on me. If the administration or down at moral claims, I'm just not happy with them.
Councilman, and you bring up a very good point. One of the things that I requested and suggested to the committee, and the question that we always ask is, was that council person notified? And is that council person, what is their thoughts or recommendations, so we can give council people an opportunity to submit? I would tell you in most of those claims, nobody even bothers to call or talk to the council person.
They don't call.
And that's the challenge, is that they go straight through a process and they don't even make sometimes aware, unless it's a basement flooding. I think that former Councilman Hairston had, and it was a major basement flooding in the Collinwood area. And that was pretty much one of the only council members that I can recall that actually weighed in on, you know, hey, this resident was affected by this. So that's another thing that I'm really asking our committee to start to get input as well, okay? So this is a work in progress, but that's one of the reasons we have council people there, so that we can improve the process as we go forth to make sure that there's a fairness part, okay?
You know, Mr. President, a tree from Parks on our side, the land, the side lots that the city of Cleveland owns, fell on this lady garage. And to get her garage repaired, I had to help her, let's say, for lack of a better word, hustle money up, because she was coming to my community meetings beating me up about this. And no one gave me the heads up at all about moral claims. They make you look real bad. Because they blame us for everything. But I want to say this about Ed. And I know that I think that he's leaving soon, and I really hate that. And you know, Councilmember Mike Polensek, you remember when we didn't get a control of health care in our budget? It was this guy right here, Ed. And he also controlled workers' compensation to keep the costs down, because that hurts us. If we don't control costs in our G&L, then we have to spend more money. I think it was $17 million one year. And Ed looked at me and said, I got it, Councilman. And they moved him over there. I forgot what year it was in.
2006.
2006. And he controlled cost. And so he has saved us millions and millions of dollars, Council President, as well as Councilmember Mike Polensek. And I hate to see you go. You control cost, and that's very important. So thank you very much. You don't have to answer it, but thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 749-2026 stands approved. Please sign on. All right, next up is ordinance number 744-2026 by Council Members Slife and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into one or more requirement contracts with Siemens Industry, Inc. for software, labor, and materials necessary to maintain, repair, upgrade, and expand the existing Apogee building automation system for the Division of Airports, Department of Port Control, for a period of 1 year with 3 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Port Control. Director.
Thank you, Council President, members of the committee. Port Control is looking to enter into this agreement with Siemens. They are our current vendor for this system. It is a proprietary system that we operate at the airport, and we're looking to maintain our relationship with them by entering into this. This is for all the building automation elements, HVAC, boilers, chillers, all those different things that make our facilities comfortable for the traveling public. So request approval to enter into the agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Charles Life.
This was heard at Transportation and Mobility and recommended for passage.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding 744-2026? Seeing no other questions, 744-2026 stands approved. Please sign on. There's one more piece with, that's for intro and passage. This is ordinance number 946-2026 by Council Members Slife and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance determining the method of making the public improvement of purchasing, installing, disposing, designing, and constructing up to 12 passenger boarding bridges and appurtenances, and authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into one or more contracts for the making of the improvement. Director.
Thank you, Council President, members of the committee. This is another one. We're looking to go out for a competitive procurement to purchase new passenger boarding bridges, also referred to as jetways occasionally, for passengers to enter onto planes. We have a funding source that's called passenger facility charges that we will be funding these. It's a process through the FAA in which these funds will flow to the airport, and we are looking to use those funds to purchase new bridges to replace several of the very old, antiquated bridges that we have currently. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding 9? Councilman Slife?
No, just underscoring this is approving the procurement process, but not entering into any final vendor. The funds, as Mr. Kramer said, have been identified, so ask my colleagues to support this one so that we can get those jet bridges purchased as soon as possible. I don't know if you've ever been stuck on a plane because there's a problem with the jet bridge. We're trying to remedy that.
Thank you. Councilwoman House Jones.
Yes, through the chair. Good morning. Just asking a question. What does it look like as far as participation? It's a $26 million contract. If I'm not, based on this legislative summary, what does it look like as far as participation of minority contractors, Black-owned contractors, women-owned contractors, the workforce to do this work, and even the training to get into this specialized work?
Through the chair to the council person, we will be, this, again, we haven't procured this. This is request to go out for procurement and enter into it. We'll be, conferring with our friends at OEO to apply all the applicable standards for the city procurement process.
And through the chair to the team, what is the timeline for this?
Through the chair to the council person, we'll be looking to go out for procurement this fall.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 946-2026 will be heard for consideration by the full entire body this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before you leave. Mr. Chairman, to your assistant director, correct?
Through the chair to the council person, that's correct.
Who is in charge of Burke Airport?
All of it falls under our director, Brian Francis.
So you no longer have an identifiable commissioner at the airport anymore, correct?
Through to the chair to the council person, I believe Brian Francis is also the commissioner of airports.
At Burke had a standalone commissioner at one time. Do they have a standalone commissioner anymore?
Through the chair to the council person, I do not know that information.
But you're assistant director.
I am assistant director, airport development, so I oversee our planning, grants, asset management, engineering, construction, sustainability, environmental.
Okay, I'm going to ask then through you, if you can provide to us, who is in charge of Burke Airport? And is the position of commissioner still there but unfilled? I'm going to request that through the chair officially for the port control to respond back.
Through the chair to the council person, happy to provide that information.
I would appreciate that, and I'm so glad the FAA ruled with some sanity finally to keep at Burke Airport. Thank goodness. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Odie Martins or Ms. Majesto, can you follow up with that request? And I know that Councilman Slife is here. To my knowledge, and I haven't been here quite as long as you, Councilman, but I've been here for a little while. The last commissioner that we had there was Khalid Bahir. So the question is there even an interim commissioner? So if you can get back to us and let us know if there is not an interim commissioner, then who is actually serving and overseeing the day-to-day at Burke?
Happy to do that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. And I just want to make sure that we didn't see that the position was eliminated or something else.
Thank you.
Okay? All right, thank you. All right, next one is the Department of Public Health. Are they health here? Is health here? Please come. This is ordinance number 746-2026 by council members Conwell and Griffin by departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Health to apply for and accept a grant from the United States Department of Homeland Security for the BioWatch program, and authorizing the Director to enter into various written standard purchase and requirement contracts for courier services needed to transport BioWatch samples to the Ohio Department of Health for testing. Directors or commissioners or?
I'm Commissioner David Hearn with the Division of Air Quality under Public Health. Appreciate the opportunity to present this request. This is a grant request to be provided by FEMA, and this will allow us to continue our participation with the BioWatch air sampling program.
Thank you. Did you want to make any remarks, sir? Okay.
Brian Sokolowski is on my left. He's our Chief of Air Monitoring, and his team are the ones who are out there every day pulling these samples and moving them forward.
Thank you. Councilman Kevin Conwell, you moved this forward to the Committee of the Whole and Finance Committee?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So moved.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Charles Slife, you have comments.
Thank you. At the recommendation of staff, I'd like to make an amendment. I move to insert at the end of section 6, the Director of Public Health shall provide written notice to the Clerk of Council whenever any purchase is made through the cooperative process, which notice shall include the details of such cooperative purchases.
Do I have a second for the amendment that has been proffered? Okay, the amendment has been proffered and seconded. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we'll call the roll. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. If there are no other questions, ordinance number 746-2026 stands approved as amended.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Polinsky.
Mr. Chairman, to the folks that are here from the Division of Health for air quality, air pollution, you still keep a track of the major contributors to air pollution, air quality in the city?
Through the chair to the councilman, yes, sir.
Okay. When, if ever, do you notify members of council as it pertains to air quality issues in their neighborhoods?
Through the chair to the councilman, we provide that information upon request, and
Okay.
I know we've provided that to you on several occasions. We're happy to do so again.
I'm requesting that for all members of the body. Mr. Chairman, to the department, we should receive that on a quarterly basis, all members, so they know what is taking place in our communities. If there is businesses or entities in non-compliance, we need to know that. All of us are concerned about air quality, and especially those folks among us that have respiratory issues and illnesses. We know we have a high number of children in our city with asthma. So again, I'm going to request through the chair and through staff that we receive that information on a quarterly basis. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And just out of curiosity, and do you have that request, Ms. Odie Martins, as well as, okay, we do have it. Just out of curiosity, when we had the air event a couple of weeks ago, can you guys just give us an update on that? Did you guys give advisement to the administration? I know that there was a decision made to close down, and other businesses across the region did the same. So what was your thoughts, and how can we prepare for that in the future?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like Mr. Sokolowski to address some of the the particulars on that.
Please.
And
Please
I'll
just be
happy
brief. We don't have
add
to
in.
do it. We could actually kick it to Conwell's later. I just know that that was a hot topic that a lot of employees and a lot of business people asked, why was that decision made?
Yeah, can you not hear me? There we go.
Yes.
So, being the chief of monitoring, we were very involved in that event, the wildfire smoke from Canada. People remember back to 2023 when it last hit us. This was far worse, this event. We saw values that were twice as high as we saw in 2023. We hit levels that we have never recorded for fine particulates. There was a very, very real hazard, and there was significant reasons why we made the decisions we did to bring folks, recreation centers, inside and not have people playing outside.
Okay. I just want to make sure that this council is educated when those decisions are made so that the public knows that these were not made just arbitrarily, that they were made based off of science and based off of expertise. That's what I basically had to tell a lot of residents and a lot of business owners, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Councilman Conwell?
Yeah, I plan to bring these two gentlemen in. One of the big problems that we don't know in the city of Cleveland, and especially in the African American communities, we gotta start planting more trees and look at more urban farms and look at vegetation, because of the air quality is worse really in our communities. And I yield to you guys to expound on that. And we have to look at that. Can you just mention it real quick? Because I'm going to meet with you guys. When you walk in the university circles, a lot of trees, a lot of vegetation is there, and we need that. And we're cutting these trees down, and I'm not happy with it. Through the chair.
Through the chair to the councilman, we do work on occasion with urban forestry.
On the what? With
towards
urban?
those very goals.
On the what?
With urban forestry.
You said another word earlier than that. We work on the what? I'll talk with you about it. Let's move forward. We have a lot of legislation. Yeah,
we do try to work with urban forestry, and that's one of the things we're all working towards. But yes, be happy to meet with you.
All right, we need those trees and vegetation. We need that in the side lots, the whole 9 yards. It's not you guys doing it, but we need it for the air quality.
Okay.
I'm there. We'll meet later.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 746-2026 stands approved. Thank you so much. Please sign on. All right, this is the rapid response section. I'm going to ask my friends from Muni Court if they can come up to the table. This is ordinance number 944-2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance on behalf of the Cleveland Municipal Court to apply for and accept a grant from the Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health Services Board of Cuyahoga County to expand access to evidence-based supervision and treatment services for defendants of the 4 specialized dockets, and authorizing the director to enter into one or more contracts with various agencies, entities, or individuals to implement the grant. Hello. I know who you are, but please introduce yourself.
Good morning, Stephanie Pope Early. I am one of the Deputy Court Administrators for Cleveland Municipal Court.
And I am Michelle Kenny, the Finance Director for Cleveland Municipal Court.
Mike, stop smiling so much. We know they're from
Two fine young ladies from Ward 10. Okay.
Please proceed.
Yes, we're coming to ask for the uses of $230,000 that we get on an annual basis for our specialized docket, which is mental health, human trafficking, drug court, and also our veterans docket. We get this grants on an annual basis, and there is no match in regards to this grant. Throughout the use of this grant, we have the opportunity to choose what vendors that we use for this funding, and those are recommended by our judges. And
taken down to our probation department to help those who come through the court and need assistance with housing, utility payments, food, clothing, and things like that. So this grant funds is used to help the participants that come into court be able to live and get the treatment that they need once they go through the court.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding ordinance number 944-2026? Councilman Michael Polinsky.
Mr. Chairman, I wholeheartedly support. These two young ladies from Ward 10 are professionals, and they're here to get this legislation passed, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 944-2026 will be heard for consideration by the entire body this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
And it's always good to see both of you.
Thanks.
I'm an honorary Ward 10 Collinwood resident. All right, next one is ordinance number 945-2026 by Councilmember Santana and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance approving the report of the Assessment Equalization Board on objections concerning estimated assessments with respect to the Cleveland Superior Arts Improvement District, determining to proceed with the plan to provide public services within the district, adopting the assessments, levying the assessments, and authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with the Cleveland Superior Arts District Improvement Corporation and declaring an emergency. I don't see anyone from the administration that is represented. Here she is. Oh, here she is. Come on up. And I have to ask why Director Merceman is on her way up. Why isn't Councilwoman House Jones added to this? Or did you want to be added to this? I'll be honest with you. That's what I'm asking. Okay. Ms. Merceman, please proceed.
Thank you, Council President and Council. This is the third and final piece of legislation for the establishment of the Superior Arts Improvement District, which is a special improvement district initiated by the businesses in the geography ranging from East 18th Street between St. Clair and Payne Avenue. There is a map in the council summary. Councilwoman House Jones and I did coordinate on this in advance, and she's been a supporter of this legislation throughout the entire process. As you may recall, we were here in May and in July for the first and second pieces of legislation, respectively. The piece in front of you today accepts the report from the Assessment Equalization Board, which heard objections to the proposed assessments, and is the final action by this council to levy the assessments, which allows them to be reported to the county and added to next year's tax bill.
Okay. Councilwoman Santana, you relieved this?
Yes, I mean, as you heard, Director, this was also heard initially in DPS, so.
Right.
And as long as Councilwoman House is in support, then we are good.
That's a segue to Councilwoman House Jones.
I just want to I'm fine with it. I'm just going to go and continue to say, I don't know from what standpoint, administration, council, I've always asked for legislation for my name to be added. And again, this is one of the reasons why people was like, oh, you always have an attitude, where it seems like there's an intentionality. And I don't know who it's from, whether it's the administration or from the council, to be exclusionary and things of that nature, but this is where we are.
The council did not draw up this, so this is what we receive on the wish list from the administration, and just so that we can make it clear. So in the future, I would implore the administration to make sure that you check with the council person on record to make sure that they're added to any legislation whenever it's produced, okay? Thank you. Any other questions? Yes. Councilman Starr and then Councilman Shaw.
Yes, just to reiterate what you said, Council President, 4.5 years, I haven't had no department ask me if I wanted to be added either. So it'd be normally us getting with the staff to try to get it done, and I think from the point that Councilwoman House Jones says, just a phone call to ask is best as needed when it comes to ordinances that's going to need council support.
Absolutely. Councilman Shaw.
Just curious, were there any objections so far from any of the businesses within the proposed district?
I believe the Assessment Equalization Board heard 2 objections at their meeting on August 6th. Just for a little bit of background about the process, the Assessment Equalization Board is comprised of 3 appointed members that are freeholders in the city, so other property owners that are basically peers of the assessed businesses. There is a report of the Assessment Equalization Board provided to council as part of this legislation. So those objections were heard, determinations were made through the board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 945-2026 stands approved. Please sign on. Thank you, Ms. Bursman. Next, I'll go to finance. This is ordinance number 938-2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to amend section 2 of ordinance number 664-2022, passed August 10th, 2022, amended relating to the Community-Based Violence Intervention and Prevention Initiative as part of the Cleveland Thrive Project program. And I just want to point something out to my colleagues, just so that everybody knows. When you look at legislation, right next to the names of the council members, it will have what is called departmental request. If it says departmental request, that means that the legislation was drawn up, written, and submitted by that department under the administration. So just so that you could indicate where it came from, you can have that. Because one thing I'm already seeing with a couple of other things is that even though I know that this is an amendment and I think it's relatively simple, that it doesn't have a ward, but you should also have a conversation with the chairperson of this area. Okay? So part of this is us really making sure we get acclimated, especially as we go into the fall meetings, but that's how it should operate. It should be departmental requests, but it should make sure you talk with the chair of that committee and the council person for that area. And that's for all of the directors and all of the administration that's listening, okay? All right, please proceed.
Thank you.
Just hold it, you got it. All right, there you go.
Thank you very much. I'm Sherry Ellery, Interim Director for the Mayor's Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunity. And I come before you today asking for approval on the amendment to our budget for the Cleveland Thrive DOJ grant. This has been approved by the DOJ. We're moving some funds around to adjust to accurately reflect the costs for salary and benefits. And then we're also moving funds from travel, supplies, and indirect costs to subawards to best support the CVI, PI work at the community level. This is for additional training for our New Gen Frontline 216 youth and additional training for our Healing the Wounded healers. This is our seasoned violence interrupters and credible messengers. Thank you.
Thank you. And this legislation, traditionally, when you've dealt with Thrive, has dealt with safety as well as workforce. I'm going to defer and ask Councilman Polensek and Councilman Starr, are you okay with this piece?
Well, Mr. Chairman, nobody talked to me about it.
Is this time sensitive?
Yes, it is. Our grant is up on September the 30th. And so if this money is not moved, it will be very difficult to spend.
So we reconvene probably, when is our first council meeting in September? September 14th. I think you should probably talk with both chairs and have us try to pass this on intro and passage by September the 14th. Because I can tell you both of these gentlemen will probably want to make sure that somebody has a discussion with them about this. Okay?
Okay, fine.
Mr. Chairman, did I talk to Councilman Starr?
Councilman Starr, did they have a conversation with you?
Regarding 938, we've talked in person and in passing about the Cleveland Thrive, but we have not formally sat down to break down on what is being asked of this legislation.
Okay, so let me ask the question. This is really just moving money, right?
That is correct.
Okay, are you two gentlemen okay with this just moving this money, but I do need you to have a conversation with both of them so that they can thoroughly understand this?
And then, and from that standpoint, Council President, if I may, this is going to be moved into a different funding source to be able to complete the Cleveland Thrive. Obviously, I know Rich Austin is no longer here, who was in charge of Cleveland Thrive. So you're trying to be able to move this dollars with the purpose of being able to get the dollars out the door, or are you moving it for what reason? That's something that is more intel for me.
Ms. Ellery?
Through the chair to Councilman, we are adjusting money in the personnel and the benefits to those funds were not accurately identified. So in order to cover the salaries and the benefits of our staff, of the staff member, Rich, and also the journal entries that we'll be making to the salary and benefits, we need to make some adjustments between those two categories. And then travel, we will not be able to, we have no plans to do any traveling between now and September 30th. We have no plans to spend any money for supplies between now and September 30th because our organizations, our partners, are paying for the books and that sort of thing through their allocations. And then the indirect costs, we have no plans to spend the indirect costs. We want to move that to the subawards to continue our training with our new gen frontline 216 youth.
All right, and then just given the letter that you mentioned to Council President, you spoke on this letter that the DOJ Bureau of Justice Assistance on July 23rd is when they made these different changes, and you're trying to get ahead of that effort with the Cleveland Thrive and the DOJ's use of this grant, correct?
Through the chair, the DOJ, the process, to my understanding, is the DOJ has to approve those changes first, and then we bring those changes to City Council for approval from your perspective.
All right, so just, I would definitely want to sit down and talk about this a little bit more to get clarification on what we're actually doing with the Cleveland Thrive and how these dollars are going to be spent. So I look forward to working with you, Director, to be able to do that.
All right, thank you. But before I move on, are you okay with just moving these dollars, or do you want to, because he said that there's another step that she needs to talk to get approval for passage from you. I just want to make sure I understand that.
If she has to,
she got to come back to you anyway.
if the department has to come back, I'm okay with moving the dollars, but they are not able to spend the dollars until they come through for passage. Through the chair.
I'm sorry, I'm
So to
not
move
clear.
these dollars, okay, to make the adjustments that you made.
Yes.
But you just mentioned that you have to come back to Councilman Starr once these changes have been made for something, right?
I'm sorry, no.
Okay.
I must have misspoke.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, we had to get approval. We submitted an amendment to the DOJ back in March.
Mhm.
They just approved it in July. So once it gets approved by the DOJ, then we come to you, according to our ordinance, the 664 ordinance, we have to come to you before we make any movement of money. And so we're confirming with you that it's okay to move this money as the DOJ approved and as we're requesting.
Okay, so basically we're responding to the DOJ changes.
That is correct.
All right, I got Councilman Polensek and then Councilwoman House Jones.
Well, and again, Mr. Chairman, and I'm willing to go with what with all of us agreed to at the table, but there's got to be some clarity as to when dealing with DOJ that comes before the safety committee. And so again, no communication to me. There's got to be a clear line of communication where PIO, what committee they're going to deal with. On safety-related issues, they should be coming before safety. And so I just want to get that clarified once and for all.
And we will have that discussion and clarify that, but let's make it just like with DPS and Public Works. There are times when there
Yes,
have to be
I understand
multiple
that.
committees. And the way I look at this is that this is multiple committees, but this seems to be a very technical, perfunctory move that she's trying to make that is not asking for major acceptance of dollars. But Councilwoman House Jones has a point, and then we'll go to
Yeah, I
that.
mean, just to the grant, we've already approved it. Like, this body already approved it. And basically what it was asking, when you look in the legislative summary, they didn't use the money from personnel, they didn't use the money in travel, they didn't use the money in supplies, and they didn't use the money in indirect
indirect costs, and they just want to switch that money to the sub-awards, which is organizations that have already been doing the work that we've already approved. It's just giving them additional resources to do the stuff that we've already indicated that they can do. Again, because this has been a 4-year process, Cleveland Thrives, they still have the quarterly stakeholder meetings. They send the invitations out for council members to actually attend. Like, so if people are saying they don't know what is going on, there have been opportunities for this body to stay involved. I know I have been doing it. I've just participated in the Next Gen graduation, and these invitations have been going out to Cleveland City Council members. So I do think, because of the timeline, I do not think we need to hold this on something we've already passed.
Councilwoman, I am comfortable moving this forward. I do respect, and one of the things that I have as a council president, put a lot of responsibilities on the chairs to make sure that they vet this. If the chairs are okay moving this forward, I am okay moving this forward.
Mr. Chairman, I said I'm okay moving it forward, but I would ask that she sits down with Councilman
Can you
Starr
do
and
that?
myself.
And
Okay?
I agree with Councilman Dean Poliznik as well.
Okay, so if you can follow up, we'll hear this with the full body tonight, but can you make sure we talk to them and for everybody? Just pick up a phone call or a quick minute to say, hey, this is what's going on. We'll take 5 minutes to 10 minutes of your time, and everybody can be happy. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. All right, the next one is 942-2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to amend Section 27 of Ordinance Number 194, 2021, passed March 29, 2021, as amended, relating to salaries for various classifications. Director Cole.
Thank you, Chair and Committee. This piece is a supplemental piece following the ratification of the Local 860 contract. Since then, the city has met with Local 860 and signed an MOU related to the Arborist 3 position. This is to adjust the salaries accordingly pursuant to those discussions and the subsequent MOU, but happy to answer any questions.
All right, do we have any questions for Director Cole over 942-2026?
Mr. President?
Councilman Starr.
Yes, I believe my question would be to the director. I thought we had an agreement when we talked about earlier this year related to HR pieces coming to workforce, and for me to be able to make sure the workforce improvements are always great under HR. So through the chair to the director, when did you know that you were going to bring this to council?
Through to the chair, to the councilman, when I submitted following receipt of the MOU. So this was, looks like in late July. I guess just of note, anything related to collective bargaining, I've never brought to workforce. I'd be happy to, but I wasn't aware that you would want to see anything related to CBAs or subsequent MOUs independently.
So through the chair to the director, do you think what you just talked about from the CBAs is a workforce item?
Through the chair to the councilman, yeah, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be going to workforce. I just wasn't aware that it would go to workforce prior to finance or committee of the whole in this case. I'm happy to do that though.
Definitely, because I thought we agreed for us to be able to build a relationship as it relates to HR practices when it involves workforce, when it involves development, salary ranges, all those different things to make sure we have eyes on it. When it comes to finance, finance is not going to get into all the nitty-gritty of those things. They work through other committees to be able to do that, so therefore the finance can work on the finance piece component of the legislation. And I don't know how else I can say it and ask of it to be able to make sure we all are working and doing our due diligence. I mean, I'm not hard to reach. I answer all 3 of my cell phones. I'm not that picky, but at the end of the day, it's like, wait, well, we don't want to talk about it with the workforce committee. We just want to go straight to the finance committee, and it's kind of hard for me to support things where I can't even properly vet it from a committee standpoint to ensure we know what is actually going on. We all, as a council members, like to learn. We all like to understand exactly what your department is doing in order for us to be able to support the different initiatives. So I support the cause of what's going on with 943 and 942. It just feels as if it's the rudeness of the process where we just disregard things. So that's where I'm hesitant at, Council President.
Thank you. And Councilman, I'm going to research something because, and I think you bring up a good point, but I do want to make sure, and this is what I want to get clarification and maybe some advice from. Traditionally, the reason that this went to finance is because council cannot renegotiate or deal with negotiations with union contracts. So really, it's more so council just ratifying the agreement that has been negotiated between the administration and the locals. And I do want to make sure I get that clarification because you bring up a good point, but definitely you and him agreed to have that conversation, and that's something that I think we need to make sure we get clarification. Because he brings up a point that we like to know, because I know you come to the table and we have questions about pay band salaries, why did they end up that way? Just so that council can be able to understand why and how you made the decisions that you did, I think is important. So I do want to make that sure that that happens. I just want to make sure that we don't get into dangerous territory trying to renegotiate contracts. But Councilman brings up a good point, okay?
Sure.
All right, thank
Understood.
you. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 942 stands approved and will be heard by the full body tonight. The next ordinance is ordinance number 943-2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to amend section 31 of ordinance number 194-2021 passed March 29, 2021 as amended by various ordinances relating to salaries for various classifications. Director.
Thank you again, Chair and Committee. This is to alter 3 positions in Section 31 of the pay band. The first, line 5, Chief Clerk, as part of the ongoing project between Civil Service and HR and the creation of career ladders, the Chief Clerk has been looked at, and we're proposing adjustment to the maximum rate for the Chief Clerk. Second, line 8, the Personnel Analyst 1 position. This is another one of the old HR positions that was never used. With the piece that I had last month with the creation of several new HR positions, this position has been archived by the Civil Service Commission. We are accordingly requesting that it be removed from the pay band as not used. And then finally, the creation of a new position, a Public Records Analyst. Again, this is done in conjunction between the HR Department and the Civil Service Department, related to specifically a new position to assist in the processing of public records requests, and the associated pay band for the Public Records Analyst is also included. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding ordinance number 943-2026? Seeing no other questions, 943-2026 stands approved. All right. All of these will be heard for consideration this evening by the full council. I am going to try to get through capital projects, and then once I get through capital projects, then I am going to break, and then we will come back and try to finish out the day. Okay? All right. So the first one is ordinance number 947-2026 by Council Members Davis, Bishop, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to change the name of a portion of Scranton Road to Eagle Avenue. Director.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. 946. Is this ordinance 747 for Eagle Avenue?
747.
Okay.
Yeah, my fault. 747-2026 by Council Members Davis, Bishop, Santana, and Griffin
Yes.
by departmental request.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, so this is to change a portion of Scranton Road to, the name of a portion of Scranton Road to Eagle Avenue. This is an unusual stretch of roadway that it's been called 3 different names over the years. This is connecting Ontario Street across from the Gateway District down to West 3rd Street, which is down by Cuyahoga River. This portion of roadway is where we are building the new Eagle Avenue Bridge, which is part of the Bedrock Project. And when the bridge was there years ago, it was called Eagle Avenue. A portion of it in the past was also called Factory Street. And then it also has a legal name of Scranton Avenue, which is confusing since Scranton Avenue is also across the river. So we are, since there are no addresses on this portion of Scranton Road, we are proposing to change it to Eagle Avenue, which traditionally has been the name that folks saw on the street sign across from the Gateway District when this bridge existed in the past.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Santana and Councilman Bishop.
Yes, we met about all MOCAP's pieces, so.
So you're saying I don't have to ask that question anymore?
I'm just saying them for all of them, but if there's a
Council-
question, I'll let you know.
Councilman Bishop.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we fully support all capital project pieces for passage.
So I will now omit asking DPS and municipal services if they approve. Councilman Austin Davis, I believe this is the area that you represent.
Indeed it is. This renaming is, we're excited to support the projects happening down there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 747-2026 stands approved. Please sign on. Next one is ordinance number 759-2026 by Councilmember Santana, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request to vacate a portion of unnamed alley south of Train Avenue between West 56th Street and Cantor Avenue.
Mr. Chairman, for all of these pieces, I do want to let folks know that on their tablets, they'll have maps if they choose to look at these, if they want to see a map. But this is for the third part of the vacation process, which is an ordinance vacating. First, there's a resolution of intent to vacate, then the Board of Revision of Assessments, and then finally an ordinance to actually vacate the street. So this is a vacation ordinance for a portion of an unnamed alley south of Train Avenue. This is between West 56th Street and Cantor Avenue, and it's adjacent to the new Clark Elementary School. This is at the request of CMSD so that they can turn this alley into a driveway that CMSD would own for better circulation of buses through the site.
Thank you. Councilwoman Santana, this is your word.
Yeah, I fully support.
All right. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 759-2026 stands approved. Please sign on. Is that 756?
59.
79. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, next is ordinance number 760-2026 by Council Members Davis, Bishop, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to vacate all of the unnamed alleys south of Abbey Avenue.
Mr. Chairman, this is again the third of the 3 steps for the vacation process. This unnamed alley south of Abbey Avenue is between West 20th Street and West 19th Street. There are 3 developers that are working together that have requested this vacation: DI Development, Burgess LLC, and Michael McBride. The goal is to vacate and consolidate the parcels around this alley, and their intent is to create a private driveway that would service the parcels on either side of the drive.
Okay, Councilman Davis, I believe this is an area you represent.
Exactly. Same as before. Happy to support renamings to continue the growth in these neighborhoods.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 760-2026 stands approved. Please sign on. Next ordinance is ordinance number 761-2026 by Council Members Griffin, Bishop, and Santana by departmental request an emergency ordinance to vacate a portion of East 81st Street.
Mr. Chairman, so this ordinance, again, is the third of the three vacation steps. This ordinance relates to a request put in by Cleveland Gear, which is north of Bessemer Street. And they just celebrated their 100th anniversary, a great Cleveland company that employs residents from the neighborhood. They are planning an expansion, and so this portion of 81st Street is dedicated. Adjacent to it is a piece of 81st Street that had been vacated years ago when Cleveland Gear did an expansion years ago. And so in order to accommodate their future plans, they've requested that another piece of 81st Street be vacated, and this portion of the roadway, they own the property on either side of it, so this would allow their new construction.
Thank you. I believe this is in Ward 5?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you want to close, Councilman, or open? Okay, Councilman Christopher Harsh.
Thank you, Council President. I don't care about the vacation. I'm looking at this picture and it's a brick street. Through the chair, do you know if they will be removing the brick? And if so, can we capture that brick for our other brick repair needs in the city? I've got brick streets I'm trying to patch, and if this is going to be vacated and they don't have any interest in the brick, is that something that the city would be able to
That's a good question.
store for our other brick restoration projects?
Through the chairman and the councilman, great question. Happy to reach out to the company and request that. So absolutely, great idea. Happy to do that.
Okay, great. I'm looking at it, and if they don't want that, I would love us to have some more brick, and that's exactly what we need to fix some streets. So it's the thought.
Yep, good stuff. Councilman Richard Starr.
No, other than I would just say I definitely wholeheartedly support this ordinance. This opportunity for an actual manufacturing company that's in Ward 5, been here for over 100+ years. They've acquired a couple different other companies, and they're looking to expand, and they're open for hiring good paying jobs right off of 81st area, off of Kinsman, right by up against, Mr. President, where CMHA headquarters is at. So this is a good project. I've been working with MoCap as well as the developers and the company. I believe one of the farms is Bennett and others. So I do support this initiative.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 761-2026 stands approved. Please sign on. Next up is 762-2026 by council members Griffin, Bishop, and Santana by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to vacate a portion of Mount Carmel Road.
Council President, so this one is in your ward. Again, this is the third of the three steps of the vacation process. So this is to vacate a portion of Mount Carmel Road, essentially just to create an equal width of Mount Carmel Road between Baldwin Road and Woodhill Road. Currently, there's a bump in to the CMHA property for on-street parking, and CMHA is replacing the need for that with a parking lot in the Woodhill Choice project site. So it's no longer needed along the roadway, and then that allows them to have a squared-off site for this housing project.
Thank you. I'm completely in support. Ask my colleagues to support it. Do anybody have any questions? All right, seeing no questions, ordinance number 762-2026 stands approved. Next up is ordinance number 767-2026 by council members Davis, Bishop, and Santana by departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to the Cleveland Public Theater to encroach into the public right-of-way of Detroit Avenue by installing and maintaining a new blade sign. Director.
Mr. Chairman, so a blade sign is a long, thin sign, and the goal is to provide more visibility to Cleveland Public Theater and the main entrance. The sign would be located at 6415 Detroit Avenue. It would overhang the public right-of-way. That's why the encroachment permit is needed. And you do have a rendering of this on your tablets.
Thank you. Councilman Davis.
Cleveland Public Theater is a major asset for the Gordon Square Arts District and for the city overall. They're undergoing a multi-million-dollar renovation to make their space more accessible from the street and more accessible on the inside. Really exciting stuff, and this blade sign is the marquee of that project. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions regarding ordinance number, what is it, 767?
767.
767-2026. Seeing no questions, please sign on. Next one is ordinance number 768-2026 by Councilmembers Slife, Bishop, and Santana by departmental request authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to enter into a maintenance, inspection, and repair agreement with and to issue a permit to the Cleveland Clinic Foundation to encroach onto, over, and within the public right-of-way of Lorraine Avenue by constructing, installing, using, and maintaining an overhead pedestrian bridge. Director.
Mr. Chairman, so this is in Ward 15, where the Cleveland Clinic at the Fairview Hospital has undergone a major expansion. They are proposing to do an overhead pedestrian bridge across Lorraine Avenue, and the goal is to connect the new medical office, cancer center, and parking garage to the existing hospital, and to allow pedestrians to travel in the hospital system without interfacing with traffic. And this is just east, if I got my directions right, of River Edge Drive.
Okay, Councilman Slife. Fully supportive. All right. Seeing no questions, ordinance number 768-2026 stands approved. Please sign on. And last for capital projects, ordinance number 770-2026 by Councilmember Starr, House Jones, Bishop, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance giving consent to the Norfolk Southern Corporation to proceed with the improvement of replacing the Superior Avenue Railroad Bridge and railroad track, and replacing and repositioning support columns under the bridge on Superior Avenue located north of Central Avenue Southeast to East 26th Street at no cost to the city. The authorizing of the Director of Capital Projects to enter into any agreements relative to the improvement. Director.
Mr. Chairman, so as council knows, we've been working since 2023 to improve the railroad infrastructure that goes through the city of Cleveland. I would suggest that this is our first major win in those efforts, in that Norfolk Southern is going to completely replace and rebuild the failing infrastructure that crosses Superior Avenue between 38th Street and 39th Street. For reference, this is where there was a press conference with Councilwoman House Jones, Councilwoman Spencer, Director Griffin, and myself way back in 2023 to highlight the issues that we were having with railroad infrastructure. This new roadway or new bridge will accommodate our Superior Midway project by reducing the number of piers that are within the street. And I would appreciate the support of City Council, and also reference that we do continue to work with railroads, both by better working relationships with the railroads, which sometimes means with our lawyers, but also sometimes means with our engineers. Also to work towards review of plans, which wasn't something that necessarily happened in the past, as well as to require railroads to pull permits for work in the public right-of-way. So we have work yet to do. I hope this is the first of several bridges that would be replaced, but this one will be at the cost of Norfolk Southern, and we're pleased to bring this before council today. They plan to start construction in September.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman House Jones. Councilwoman House Jones is supportive. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number. Councilwoman Nikki Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through the chair to the director, is there a certain source of funding that Norfolk Southern has to do this repair?
Through the chairman and the councilwoman, I truly don't know how they fund their capital repairs.
Okay, I'm curious, you mentioned the hearing a few years ago with Councilwoman Spencer. I was at that hearing. I've been advocating for a number of years regarding a railroad bridge in my neighborhood. Just a couple weeks ago, I was taking my dog for a late night walk, and a train, I was actually taking photos of the debris under the bridge, and while I was standing there, my husband yelled, "Look out," and because the train was coming, and I didn't get out from under there quick enough, and debris started to rain down on me. I was standing underneath it. I've been in contact with the Norfolk Southern representative and Law Director Griffin regarding this, but it's an ongoing concern. I know that this bridge is one of many in the city that needs significant investment by Norfolk Southern. So I'm interested in building on the relationship that you stated. Norfolk Southern has, to my surprise, been responsive so far. But I do know that these are not small investments that are needed in these bridges. They're major investments. And so through the chair to the director, has Norfolk Southern made any indication of making improvements or significant repairs to other bridges throughout the city?
So through the chairman and the councilman, currently Norfolk Southern is looking at the rail line that is a part of where this bridge is. So the line that crosses this bridge also crosses several other bridges that are under investigation by Norfolk Southern. And there are some pier work that's happening on Hamilton, for instance. They were looking at some work on Hamilton, but I'm not aware of, and Rick, I'll defer to you, I'm not aware of actual improvements or repairs happening outside of this particular rail corridor. But Rick?
To the chair, to the councilwoman, that's correct. We bring to their attention a number of bridges that we think have issues, and keep doing that with the responses that it's in good shape, and that's all we hear from them. So they're not really active in doing much other repair.
Through the chair to the director and to Mr. Swatowski, has the railroad shown any indication of, like an attitude change? Because, it was my experience before that they've been, as long as the bridge is, strong enough to carry trains, we don't care if it's dropping chunks of concrete on pedestrians or cars passing underneath.
Through the chairman and the councilman, I would say that it's it is not a good relationship with any of the railroads, but it is a working relationship with Norfolk Southern. And we've been looking at both nuisance-related claims. We've been looking at issues related to drainage. We've been looking at issues related to public safety. And so each particular situation has a different angle that we work towards. And I believe that the fact that consistently since 23 we've been working towards a resolution at many different locations, that Norfolk Southern has, I would say, changed their attitude in that they are, I wouldn't say that things are getting fixed overnight, but I think that there's a working relationship that's developed so that we can keep pushing on the most important locations in the city. We've pushed on Lake Avenue many times. I've been at that site previously under the previous government affairs folks at Norfolk Southern with them on site. But there was a time when there was that all communication kind of shut down with Norfolk Southern. And I would say that we're past that and we're back into a communication phase. So no promises to council, but I do think there's a better attitude at Norfolk Southern.
Okay, thank you. Through the chair to the team, and it is a good indication that this project is happening. So I'm encouraged by that, and I look forward to building on that relationship and hopefully getting some more repairs made across the city.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I think we all dealing with those horrible bridges, and I know that you guys have been really organized around it. Thank you so much. Seeing no, Councilwoman House Jones, you said you're good, right? Okay. All right. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 770-2026 stands approved. Please sign on. And I would ask if we could break, and then we're going to come back. What time is it now? It's about 11. We're going to break, and then I'm going to ask if everybody could be back about 12:45. Thank you. 12:45, guys.